Hello. Test mic. Test.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Selamat pagi semua.
Sikit. Okay.
Selamat pagi. Oh no, selamat tengah hari.
Selamat tengah hari.
Apa makanan?
Satu shoot.
Make me look taller than Bront. Alright.
Yeah, maybe all of you can just sit down. So you all can hear, listen, and clearly, more clearly. Thank you. Yeah, come down and you can sit in the middle center here.
Okay. Okay, satu lagi. This is for media, isn't it?
Yeah.
MMA fight.
No, this one here.
That looks like
Alright.
that looks maybe good like MMA cover. You get that? No, straight first. Okay, now the funny one.
Yo, what's up? So hari ni symposium.
Oh!
Yang Bront.
Careful, guys.
Apa dia?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our talk with Joko Anwar and Bront Palarae. You guys want to come forward? No, you there? Okay. Tak payah lah. Okay.
Sit in the back also.
Alright.
It's the best seat.
Okay. My name is MJ, so I'll be moderating the talk today.
MJ.
So I've known Bront for quite a while now. We made films together. Bront, we made how many films we? I think we only made one film together. Joko, I've known for a pretty long time as well.
First movie together.
First movie together, yes. I'll start with. Okay, I'll start with Bront since Bront is the visitor. No, I mean Joko.
What?
Joko.
You just change your mind.
Yeah. I got your name mixed up. Oh, people are still coming in. Okay, come on, sit down.
People still coming in, so you better ask Bront because when they hear me talking, a lot of people not joking.
Maybe we'll start off with. For those of you who don't know, obviously, Bront and Joko have worked together on several projects. I am also quite. I mean, I've asked him this. Well, I'm also quite curious as to how this. You guys were in the Pengabdi Setan, Half Worlds.
Yeah.
Gundala. Okay. Oh, you're in Gundala. I didn't know that. Great. So it's a continuous working relationship. Gundala coming out soon.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Okay. Can you tell us, both of you, maybe how did you come to discover Bront? How did you come to cast him, and what do you think about casting him in Indonesian films?
One day back in trailers and Malaysian film trailers, and I found Terbaik dari Langit, and it was very intriguing for me because the acting was excellent, and it touched the subject matter that I'm most interested in. Besides being religious, I'm also very interested in UFO. So when I saw the trailer, it has many great elements, and the one that really striking to me is Bront Palarae. So I went to KL December 2014 or is it December? And then I went to KL just to see the film. And I really loved the film. And after I watched it, I posted in my Twitter. I said I came to KL to watch Terbaik dari Langit. I loved it. And they happened to read the tweet and they said, "Hey, nak melepak ke after you watch the film?" And I said, "Yeah, let's melepak." And then we melepak ya. We melepak what place? Warung. Stadium. Yeah. So we talked until 3 a.m. and then we become friends since. And when I was over the project by HBO Asia, I immediately think of Bront Palarae. So we've been working together since.
And what about Bront? Can you
Same
tell us-
story lah, yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, maybe you can bring it forward. How was it like working with?
I thought it was a prank. I thought like it was like one of those era or even like hot FM prank. Until I realized wait, it's a bit crazy because it's WhatsApp. You can't really make a prank. It's not like phone call. It was shocking, but then also it was like real honored to be on that project, to be invited, and yeah, we just started our project, and through the process, I think we struck a good working relationship. I hope so.
Yes.
And I'm lucky because Indonesian actors are mostly busy, so whenever the other actors are not available, so Joko will be like, Bront. Yeah.
No, he's always my first choice.
My first choice to find actors. Can you find me some actors to play Bront? I said, okay, I will find some actors. And he would come and say, sorry Joko, I could not find any actors to play.
Let's just get Bront.
No. I'm just joking. But yeah, I think Bront is one of the most talented actors now working in Asia. So
I agree. Yeah.
very lucky to have him in my projects, all my projects.
Great. So that's a good introduction. So I'm going to rewind back for the both of you. Maybe briefly tell me, Joko, for those of you who don't know, you came into filmmaking through journalism, film criticism, and then writing, and then directing. Your first film, Janji Joni, was I saw it in the theater, I think in 2005. So, great success. Can you briefly tell us about, did you always want to make films, and how you got to that first film?
I grew up watching films in the cinema, not paying tickets, but peeping through the ventilation hole. Back then we did not have air conditioner, so we have ventilation and it was very low. So I could watch the movie from outside the theater without paying it. If I have money, I pay. And then I wanted to be a filmmaker since very young, junior high. And then I tried to film school, but it was too expensive for my family. We were poor. So I thought probably I have to go to some university where I could learn filmmaking. So I went to ITB in Bandung. Bandung is known for many factory outlets. So if I go to Bandung with Bront, people would say, Abang Bront, boleh ambil gambar. Suddenly Bandung become Kuala Lumpur. So, and Bront would say, yeah, I'm here with my boyfriend. It was like, so yeah, I went to that college, but I tried to join the club, the filmmaking club for students, but they did not accept me.
Why?
I got into fight with the seniors because they told me to write down the rules of the club in big paper. I said, we're supposed to be a filmmaker, not writing rules.
Like Fight Club.
Yeah. So I finished college very early, and then I applied to many production houses in Indonesia, but they did not accept me because I did not have background in filmmaking. So I thought probably I have to be someone working in one field that very close to the film people. So I work as a journalist. But they assigned me to write about murders, politics, military. So I said to them, how about I write about reviews on films for free for you. So they gave me a column. I became film critic because I thought film people would love me. But my reviews are very, very harsh and they hated me. So every time I go to an event, film event, everybody would just go. Like if there is water and you put a splash of oil, everybody will disperse like that. But lucky, there was one filmmaker whose film I have not criticized yet, Nia Dinata. I came to her about her first movie, Jabaukan. And we were talking about things. We ended up talking about script writing. I said, I think there's a problem with your script. And she said, how could you say that? You're a journalist. You don't know anything about script writing. And I said, but I've written a script. Where? This one. Hence, Janji Joni. Yeah. That's a story.
That's great. That's a great story. And did Nina help you produce it? Did she
Yes,
produce
yes,
it?
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. And Ron, what about you? You know, you're one of Malaysia's most well-known actors and my favorite.
You're not the most
Malaysian
well
actor.
known here? One of them.
One of them.
Okay. We got like 18 above me.
Well, no, we got like you know, he's one of 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Thanks, MJ.
how did you? How was it a pure interest in acting or was it an interest in filmmaking? Because now your career has sort of
Music
you know,
videos.
Music videos.
Yeah, in the 90s, like Fincher, everyone was still doing like Jonathan Glazer, everyone was still in, you know, making music videos. And the late 90s, kind of like the most exciting time for music videos. And I was so attracted to music videos that I enrolled into film school, wanted to be
Music video director.
exactly until I realized like in Malaysia you only have 10,000 and
Right.
we
Or 2,000.
2000 now. So in school then with lecturers, so they bombarded me with all this like, you know, Citizen Kane, all the boring stuff, and you go, oh God. And eventually it grew with, I think, cinema history. So the appreciation kind of grew from there, and you kind of like refer to history as looking for references. And during film school, I think it's pretty much like Joko, like we had to do everything to learn. Khalid, he was the casting director, so Osman Ali had to fill up his quota every day, like 30 people. So he went to the film school, like, okay, all of you, we need all of you to be, you know, come over to 10 on 10, was owned by Tiara Jacqueline. So we did with Muhammad Khalid. Muhammad Khalid, oh, budak film school eh. You know, Abang Muhammad being Abang Muhammad, so we spoke about Woody Allen, we spoke about Kubrick, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, that's it, you join me.
That's how
So with each project with Mama Kali, it's always like being an actor. So I get the real pocket money, like the real money from acting, but I get to do second AD, I get to do comedy for free to just to learn the craft. So yeah.
So you were never, you were growing up, you never just wanted to be like a star, like Brad.
That's the most convenient and easy one. I mean, like, you know, that it gives you like a front seat to observe how director works.
Acting is very hard actually, but maybe it's not hard for it.
By the time you arrive on set, people will udah makan. Now you know, hey, duduk, hey, payung, like, you know, you get all the perks that come with bother you, like, you know, you just need to hold your script and you can observe. If someone want to bug, you know, you just flip the script. Jangan kacau dia tengok begitu. You know, so yeah.
So taste-wise, Bront, I mean, you've acted in all kinds, all you know, comedy, very serious stuff, various languages because you speak so many languages. What? And I'll ask you this later, Joe. What? Do you have a sort of a like a genre or like the type of films that you want to make? Since we're in local flavor, international taste.
It's always like depending on the state of mind, like the current state of mind, because like acting kind of influence how you feel or subconsciously affecting your psychological being, so to speak. So if you keep doing like back-to-back project, Tortured Soul or something heavy, normally I will try and find a comedy, even a slapstick comedy, just to get out of that zone. Yeah, sort of as a breaker. So it depends. Like right now, I'm kind of on a reset mode, so everything is okay. But if I get to do like back-to-back, like heavy stuff, then the only way out is to find something serious.
So you variate your
To keep my sanity, yeah.
Okay. So Bront, after Janji Johnny, which was a hit, right? It was a hit. It introduced you. Indeed, Kala, which I also saw on the big screen, and then you followed up with Pintu Talaran, Forbidden Door. Now, these two films, they were genre, but they were also, you know, they were quite artistic. Once you had that, I wanted to ask this, once you had that Janji Johnny, that hit, it's quite go that commercial route, and so I'm curious, yeah.
I always think all my movies are commercial when I
okay.
when I'm making it.
That's good, yeah.
Even the ones that's not making money at all. This one's going to be very commercial.
So you followed your heart.
Because maybe because I thought I could play around and explore. I'm sorry.
I actually like I like Kala very much. I thought it was extremely it was quite audacious. Definitely a cinema coming out of Southeast Asia. I thought it's really good film.
Yeah. Because I don't have that sense of you have to make movies for this genre only, and I did not have a sense you master full at it for a filmmaker, because if you are successful in one film, in one type of film, and you are given a label by the audience, and then you're comfortable with it, it would be very hard for you to get out of that zone. And that is dangerous because it can make you artistically dead. So I'm trying to explore all kinds of genres, and I'm the kind of filmmakers who got bored very easily. So if I do same movie twice, especially in a row, I would not be as enthusiastic making like Satan Slave in 2017. Right away there was a opportunity to make the sequel.
Right.
But I thought if I do Satan Slave again, I think it's going to be not as enthusiastic in the making. So I decided to do Gundala, which is completely different from all my films. And my other films, slated to be released this October 17 in Indonesia, Perempuan Tanah Jahanam, Wain Petigo, or Direct Translation, Women from the Cursed Land, is also very different from all my films. So yeah.
Okay. And you write all your films, Joko.
Yeah.
Is there? It's very interesting that you go from Pengabdi Setan to Gundala, and so I was actually quite curious. So now I know you actually enjoy all genres. What's your process writing a film? Since you're tackling different sort of films, maybe you can talk about. Do you do that research? Do you think about your audience? So are you developing the film for an audience in mind, or is it within you? So I'm just curious.
Well, first, writing is the most important, most difficult part of filmmaking for me.
Right.
Directing, you can make plans, but writing, I think, is very difficult because you creating something out of nothing. Directing, you have a script, you have a cast, you have crew to help you making your vision reality, but to write is very, very difficult. If I can find a writer that can write for me, and the style of writing, the quality I like, I think I would leave it to other people. My process of writing is, I can say, very, very organic. We know that there are some principles of writing. We can follow the structure, we can follow the theorems, theorem. In Indonesia, theorema. I don't know what's in English. Maybe theoreme. Yeah. He does that. Every time I direct and I look stupid, he would do this. Yeah. But I use the principles as a guide, but I tend to let my characters. Okay. If I write, I would make the history of the character first, when they were born, and I would give it to the actor. So Bront can tell you about that process. Okay. When they were born, when did they go to school, and what kind of family they grew up in, the society, their first kiss, their first sex, and everything. Because I think film can be only interesting if the character is believable, and character can only believable if we can make them their views in these 5 principles of life very, very clear. One is religion, art, politics, love, and sex. So I build my characters in my head, and let them make decision based on their history and they what they have gone through. And in the middle of, maybe I would guide the characters, but it's like walking down the dog lah. If you walk down a dog and it goes as planned, it's good. But if it wants to go to someone else's house and wreck things, you said, hey, don't go there, you know. So something like that. That's why it's very organic.
Okay.
But bottom line is, I let my characters live and make decisions.
That's. I mean, you have the ability to
And
do
my
that.
deep dog.
And Ron,
Obedient one.
yeah, I do want to ask you about. I'll since you have various.
No, I mean
careers-
in the script, not the actor.
Okay.
The script, the characters in the script.
All right.
I want to ask you, Ron, since you've been on local projects,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
English language projects, you've done international projects. What is your, Joko has talked about his sort of his grand scheme, his plan in his directing career. Joko's, what is your sort of vision as an actor? And I'll talk about your directing, making more local works, more different challenges. What is that vision?
I think we're a bunch of storytellers. So what attracted us to any telling the story? So it's always start from that point, that standpoint, which is we read the story and wow, this is interesting. The kind of ride it takes us on, the kind of journey it takes us on, or through the storytelling process. Then only I look at the character. Because for me personally, I'm at a juncture of my career where I'm more interested in good story and help director realize the issue is not that tight, and it's always about trying to get in tune with what the vision we were.
Right.
It's always about that second guessing the actual movie that playing in his head. So whatever conversation, whatever with whoever that I work with, it's always about what do you see in your head. I want to understand that, because words can't really, I get to understand in your head, then the faster we could get into the actual translating it into performance process.
Do you, Ron? I mean, you're now venturing into directing. I mean, you mentioned the producing. What do you see in terms of that career? Directing, producing. And well, I know the stories are not just for a local audience. They're more for a larger audience. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that side of your career.
I think it's quite coincidental because I'm mixed. My mom's Pakistani, so the way I look at things and the people who's gonna watch my film surely won't be like only Malaysian. So I'm gonna share with my good friends in Thailand now that I have friends in Indonesia and Philippines. Also, so by having said that, I also will love for the story to be relatable to them as well. So you're telling your story from something that you live in, which is in Malaysia, and you're trying to share with the rest of the world. But we don't really see it has to be international taste or whatsoever. Yeah, it's just about what you think. This is uniquely Malaysian. But then I think people in Timbuktu or Mozambique or Tokyo, Stockholm still can relate to this issue, because at the end of the day, it's a story about human being in a set of predicaments. So you're just trying to share that part of Malaysia to the world, or my friends in elsewhere.
So you're not swayed by basically like the trends, or like, hey, because of course when you get into directing and producing, when we talk about it, when you have a script or you have a project, producers, finances will tell you this is not going to make any money. This is going to make money. How do you sort of balance that, or how do you does that affect you?
Yes.
Or
He's lucky it doesn't affect him.
yeah. I'm going to get to him later.
He's lucky it doesn't
Does that affect you?
It affects him.
And what do you do about it? Of course, it affects everyone unless you're him or Spielberg or somebody.
Because for me, like making the film, that's the ride. That's our party.
Right.
But it involves somebody else's money.
Right.
And that money has to be returned with ROIs and all that, which we totally don't. We still acknowledge the business part of the show business. So some of the decisions or whatever that we have through the story is also has to be looked at from that, put on that glass and look at it.
The producing head.
Can we milk something out of it, or can we make my term is always, can we make the press kit sound sexy? You're trying to get certain components to make the press kit sound sexy in order for it to be able to sell, so we can return the money back to the investors, because otherwise then there's no next movie. So, but just because we want to return the money back to the producers doesn't mean like, we can't party on this one. So it's about trying to, find a balance between that, we still get to do whatever we want to do. And now it become much clearer that I can do whatever I want, like with total creative control. If I know how to, repay back the money, the more certain I know how to repay the money or return the investment, the more control I have over my work. Yeah.
And what about you, Joko? When you you probably have Final Cut and pretty much is it like when you want to make a film, do you just deliver the script to the producer or whoever it is and goes, this is the film I want to make? What is that process for you when you're sort of right before making it? Is it, maybe talk a little bit? Now, okay, now supposed to. I mean, I know before maybe there was right now.
I think I'm one of the luckiest filmmakers in Indonesia because I always got Final Cut. And usually the script that we use to shoot is only the first draft, only the first or second draft, or second, yeah. And everything is very quick. Like Gundala, we edited in 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, we shot in 2 months, we edited in 2 days. But because there are no more shots to edit, I plan out all my shots. So I tend to be very organized in terms of filmmaking. So I made my shot list. After I write my script, I try to have the first draft as the best draft. So I'm not thinking about, okay, I'll just finish the first draft and then maybe we can discuss and work on it later. No, because I have this term called SAD, S-A-D, or select or delete. So after I type it and start over. No, one more. No, slow mo. I try to have the first can be shot. Like for Gundala, I have
In the shots.
Oh,
So it's all in your head before you shoot.
I always believe if you want to be a film director, you have to be able to portray the film in your head before you shoot it. That's what's called a director with a vision, I think. So the film already, like Bront said, already in our head. Make the shot list, and then I would make the video board. So every time I go to shoot, I would tell everyone, don't follow me, let me observe my set. And I would do the video with my AD, with my DP, with my anyone that I can get. You go, you come with me. You will be Bront Palarae. You'll be so I will shoot the thing with all the shots.
How long is this process before the actual shooting of the film?
15 minutes.
Oh, okay. On
the day, yeah.
all right. Okay.
No, when we prepare it, I make shot list, of course, during the location hunting. But every time before a scene, I would say, wait here, everyone. Of course, everybody would like, follow me because they want to be in the film.
On your video board.
Yeah, video board, yeah. I said, how about me? And I said, no, not you. Why? Because I'm bad. So I can show you some of the shots later. Yeah, we can cut into the whole film that play. So I'll just send the video to the group, so everyone can understand what
So
kind
they know
of
the blocking
scene.
and-
Yeah.
okay.
So when I give them the shot and everybody's okay, we have to prepare. Let's just shoot. So it's very effective. Usually, for each take, I would do, for each shot, I will do how many takes? One. Bront did a long monologue for Gundala, like 3 or 4 minutes. How many take? One. That's good. Okay, check the file. It's good. Okay, next. Bront would say, "Bang, are you sure? Yeah, it's good. Can I have another one? No. Just another one. No. Half. No. First take. Yeah.
That's great, Joko, because watching Satan's Slaves I guess most of you guys have seen it. It looks it's a great film. I really enjoyed
Also
it.
one take.
Yeah, I heard you shot it in 2 weeks, and I saw it, and was it no? What?
Yeah.
2.5 weeks?
No. 15 days.
15 days, and I saw it, and I was like, it looks like a Hollywood film. It's got all the shots, and I was like, did Joko like he's gonna be so
A
efficient?
copy of Moment was shot in 7 days.
Copy of Moment 7 days.
Yeah, one day we
Oh.
shot 32 scenes.
I was gonna ask you about.
And we went home before 10 p.m.
I see.
Yeah, Satan's Slave, remember? The well scene? The well, when he jumped into the well.
Yep.
And he was
Trying
being,
to-
give me the rope.
Yeah.
It was only one take. Can we take another take? No?
That's why you edit in 4 days, because it's only
He looked so panicked because the
Yes.
rope was in his
Right.
neck.
And
Yeah, the rig, it was like really like we got entangled, my son and myself, like we were like this.
And it looked very real, and we could not replicate that. I said, no, that was the best shot.
That's great. So your process is you have that vision, you have your shot, you have your shot list, and then you have your video, and then you go on and shoot one take.
One take. Yes.
Great. But I would like-
Because the second take is you become too apa namanya
Measure.
You look into a take too much. Maybe his smile should be a little bit smaller. So it's not like, but maybe like, and it become mechanical.
What do you mean? Like
You
this
know, man.
vanity comes into play for the second take mostly?
I think so. Yes. The first take, there is self-doubt there, not sure, but that what's make it so genuine. I always love first takes.
So what is the process working with actors then, since they only have one take, like with Bront, for instance, on Punjabi? Do you talk to them?
If
Do you
they
walk-
screwed up, good luck. It will be on the screen. It will be on the film.
No, but
all
what
his-
about before? Like, are you guys doing script rehearsals and like maybe?
We don't read scripts. We read script once perhaps, but we make scenes not in the script. So based on the sheet that I give them, we would make some scenes not in the script.
and Ron, yeah, maybe. What is it like working on one take and then as opposed to 10, 20, 30 takes kind of a experience? Because yeah, I've heard the rumors that
No,
Joko
coming from like before I worked with Abang, it was already like I've done like 30 of films, and by the time we did half worlds, one of the things that crossed my mind was, oh my god, all this while I worked like crazy and the result was so, and now I just had to like walk to the car, get in the car, cut, and once it put together, like once this. You're not bad. Okay, now this is a big problem because I don't want this to be a one-off. Like you see, it shouldn't be like once every 4 years or once in a lifetime experience. Like how to keep how to be consistent at this level. I mean, like you want to play this game at this level and work with the people at this level, and that's the kind of got me hooked hook on or have or develop a thirst for working abroad. It's just like, want to get into the process of, how people, elsewhere working. And with Joko, it's always about trying to get the real understanding of the character. Because the scenes are the scenes anyway. Like, once you get a character, it's pretty much the scene, and you're gonna do it anyway. But we're trying to understand who he seen. Then it become too sort of too taskful, because we're trying to nail the scene rather than trying to understand and trying to. So by doing improv workshop and things like that, we spoke. Sometimes we just speak about it like 2 hours. To fine tune, try to understand like what happened at which stage of his age, at which time of his life, and try to relate that to what's happening in the movie. So there was certain stuff that we need to build the foundation in order for it to work during the performance. So those foundations are being built through the workshop. And for here, I think with Malaysia is always. Sometimes I feel locally we have a problem of doing for doing it. Like, yeah, people do reading, let's do reading. What's the purpose of reading? Yeah, reading. Like, it's not objective of why are we here? What are we trying to nail? I mean, like, what are we, why are we all here and doing this exercise? What's the director's objective with this exercise? So sometimes we just do it and we're just reaching the reading part, because not many production do readings. So it's also about that. It's about, it's like, footballers practice, but they don't know why they practice. So it's the same, and I think that's in order for us to move as a sorry, the Malaysian angle. In order for us to move forward as an industry, it's also about that. It's also about approaching work with process that we think what works for the story, rather than this is what they do elsewhere, let's do it. This is the normal process in Hollywood, let's do it, without actually having a real foundation of what those exercises are for.
Is it sometimes frustrating, because you've been in a lot of productions, Ron? Does it frustrate you to see certain maybe not so good or not so well or professional working manner, and how do you sort of overcome that sort of staleness or that frustration and continue to sort of be motivated?
If I'm the anchor, it's much easier, because you have the responsibility to anchor the project, so that comes with the whole shebang, everything. So you're pretty much like your director, the moral. So it's much easier if I'm the anchor to rope in the supporting actors. Hey, come on, let's to. But sometimes you just go in as big parts, supporting, and you are just joining the whole bandwagon as a So you don't have much control, and you literally see how it goes downhill, and you can't do anything. Like you're not gonna exert your influence, because it goes beyond your pay grade. It's not frustrating, but it's like where it's heading, and you're like you are on a slide, and let's embrace our death. sometimes, but I'm also fortunate enough to keep myself working in a good circle. So rarely or occasionally, you get stuck in that mode. But most of the time, even local films, normally I work with the same directors or the same team. So that's also
I've noticed that.
yeah. So it's much easier also, because you go straight to work rather than trying to understand, trying to So the prep work in terms of getting to do the actual work is less. You go straight to work.
Do you? Well, I have a minor question. Do you have an agent in Indonesia, to help you, or is Joko your agent to help you expand your acting?
No. It's people always think, or some of us already thought, like I'm actually living in Jakarta and not in KL. And people in Jakarta already think that I'm already staying in Jakarta and not in KL as well. So in both countries, but.
Can you come down now?
Can you come down now to the office? Like, what? I'm in KL now. Or like, we didn't call you because we thought you already, you're living in Jakarta. Like, no, I'm always in KL. That's formulation.
Okay, so
Where were we?
Your agent.
Oh yeah. So it's like this. We forged friendship, like real genuine friendship over the course of working together. And I always say, the last thing I want is to set up shop and start being in that industry, because I don't want to get myself like tied down to any particular industry. I kind of feel like a nomad, and it's a fun thing. It's quite liberated because it opens up opportunity for because I'm a producer and director as well. So for scouting, so you scout crew, you scout talent. So for instance, Aribayu, so we work in the Harvard. I was so impressed, honored, impressed, and all. So I was like, oh God, I need to work with him again. And when we developed One Two Jaga, so he was the first name that kind of like pop up, like Aryo Ochiko. Okay. So those are the stuff that happened with this process as well. So I don't want to pack myself down to Indonesia and then I start losing Malaysia, I start losing other countries as well. Okay.
Cool. Very cool. And Joko, okay, we talked briefly just now about obviously Satan's Slave, Pengabdi Setan was seen in festivals, on whether the festivals are important.
Audience from outside Indonesia, it's also very, we hope to get that too. And there are two ways to do it. The first one is festival, of course. Your film screen festival, people see it, and film journalists see it, write about it, and make people want to know about your film more. Or just go commercial routes. Sales agent and distributors. But then film festival also can help you find those necessities, sales agents and distributors. Or if your film is hugely popular in your own country, people want to know what's with your film,
Right.
and they would directly contact your producer and ask if they can see the film, and if they like it, they will distribute the film in their countries, whether in cinema or in other platforms. So I think festivals have that function to be a mean to expand your audience and to get help for your movies to get more audience. And of course, I think it's the meeting points between filmmakers from many parts of the world. You can discuss about how things work in each other's country and maybe learn from it. But for me, personally, going to festival is very humbling because I get to meet a lot of filmmakers who make movies I really admire much better than my works, but more humble than me. So, if they can be very humble and they can produce much better works, why should I think so highly of myself? Something like that. It's very humbling. But yeah, also, as like I said previously. So, if you're talking about film in terms of the theme today, making local films, international taste, I think there's no such thing as international anymore, because I think the world now is one because of this platform, especially the OTT platform, Netflix, Amazon Prime Videos, and such. So if you make a film in your country, you have an equal chance to have your movie seen widely internationally now.
Right.
So there's no such thing as going international, or because
now it used to be 10 years ago. If you wanted your film seen internationally, you cast a white actor or you have a white storyline or a Japanese.
now you just have to make
No, you don't have to.
you just have to make
a good film.
a good film.
Right.
And if you want to try putting more efforts, your movie to have more apa namanya, more interesting for audience from outside your country, you can try to find out which genre can work easily, can cross over to any cultures. Probably horror, because um, being frightened is very primal, right? Anyone in the world, the same kind of sensation, being frightened. There is no such thing as intellectually frightened. Like you make
I'm
a drama,
scared.
like you make drama, right? I'm intellectually amused by the story. But horror is the same. So maybe horror, action, but that's also not ultimately 100% true, because if you make drama, it can be also interesting for other cultures. I always believe that movies that can cross over easily is the ones that have an international theme, but presented in the point of view of local cultures. Maybe a separation, you guys saw it, right? A separation is about just a relationship between husband and wife, but told in a point of view of people who live in Iran, the obstacles of trying to get a divorce. That is interesting, because people think from other side of Iran, in our country it's very easy, but why it's so difficult there? Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to throw it back to Bront. So Joko said that yes, I do agree with Joko in terms of if you nowadays if you want to reach wide audience, you just have to sort of make a good film, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, the standard is high, but you don't need to sort of fluff it or make all these superficial things. But
I mean,
you know,
I know Badam, saw it.
Again, Mark,
you saw it.
I saw Badang.
Okay, and
it inspired Gundala.
right. Your filmmaker might be.
I know, I genuinely enjoyed it.
Enjoy. Okay, great. I didn't see it, so I saw the trailer. Though. It looked interesting.
Me too.
Yeah. So let's going back to point. Ron. So, do you think about? I mean, you've been in horror films, action films, all kinds of. That's not important to you as an actor, is it? Or do you go, if I do more horror stuff, I have a shot, it has a shot of traveling more, because horror films, that primal, it's it's universal, the scare.
But like Abang said just now, after Pengabdi, I think I got like 10 horror projects from both countries. I mean, like from Indonesia, from offers, yeah. And it's kind of boring.
As a bapak.
It's similar. You understand the game of producers trying to leverage on the advantage that you offer. And then, like, from set and slave, travel 46 countries, blah blah blah. Released in 46 countries. Highest gross opening in Hong Kong first week, things like that. So of course they see it from numbers. They look at numbers. And for me, if I we're gonna do a horror again, it has to top up the, otherwise what's the point? I mean, like,
That's hard. That's hard to talk about.
So it's a problem as well, because you have less space. You have less space. Is you have to operate on a different. You try to find a different path on. Within the genre. If I were gonna do horror, it has either to be totally different from what I've done, or open up to. Otherwise, it's very hard for me to accept, and that's really upsetting some of my friends, because right now everyone is going to horror, and like I want to work with you too, but not horror.
So you decided not to cash in off the Pengabdi
For a while, or like we look at things objectively. So it's always about like whether the script gave us something exciting or present something. I don't know. Now they have this elevated genre.
Yeah.
A pseudo
and
genre.
fancy name.
Yeah, fancy name.
To
So
be,
yeah.
to be intellectually amused.
Intellectually scared.
Yeah.
Bradley's gonna prove you wrong. Okay. Okay.
I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in it.
I know.
Motel,
I know. Yeah. Motel, yeah, that's coming out. All right. Joko, I do want to talk to you a little bit about promotion, since you are a brand. You're kind of like a walking brand in Indonesia. You know, you have a huge following. What what is your viewpoint on how do you promote your films? Because you can promote it yourself. It's a very unique position, because unlike actors, like Bront can promote, you know, but as a director, you know, as a brand, you can actually promote your own film, you know, Joko on a film, and that's a position that it's extremely rare. It's like it's so rare. It's like Park Chan-wook, you know, Bong Joon-ho, you know, it's how did you get to that point? Number one, I know there was a kind of a naked stun, you know. Maybe you can talk a little bit.
Nobody knew about it.
Nobody knew.
Everybody knew.
Everybody. And is it just who you are, your personality, or is it sort of like a just sort of effort to gather the following to become this brand?
I never think like that actually.
Never think like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think one of the most important thing to keep as a filmmaker is trust from your audience. So from one movie to another, you have to be able to present a good work, better work than your previous if you can. So your audience will trust you. Because without that, people will not trust you, and they will not to bet in each project. That's why I plan everything to make sure nothing is amiss, and what shot in location is the one movie that I have in my head when I think this is a good project to do. This is going to be very interesting for people. So yeah, that's a must. To have the trust from the audience is number one. And of course, I think you have to make the project is not about you, it's not about the film, but about everyone. Because like for Gundala, for instance, we make Gundala not just for us to satisfy our ambition to do something like Gundala, but we want to give the audience something that they can really enjoy, they can cheer in the cinema. So we give them things that is entertaining, but when they go out, they have something to bring back and think about, because it reflects the society as well. And during the promotion, it's not like, hey, I'm making a film, please support me, promote my film. No, but this about something that about us. If we can make this good and many people see it, we can continue making something like this, something that we like. If you able to get that trust, the same like Pengabdi Setan, right? Happened to Pengabdi Setan when we released the poster was so horrendous. But that was intentional because we tried to reach AB class audience, but also CD. But people was wow, bad mouthing the poster. It was so horrendous.
This is the one with the hand?
Yes.
That one, right?
And then I think, hey, let's make a laugh and laugh together. So let's make a parody poster. So people, oh, okay. So the director said it's okay to make fun of the posters. Let's make fun of it. And we came up with 300 posters, parody posters. And I displayed in my social media. And everybody laughed, this is so funny. And in the end, the real poster doesn't look bad anymore, because we have made much worse posters. So yeah, we have fun. And also during the film, the ibu, the mother figure, was very horrific, frightening. And I think, oh, let's relax a bit, and I give them a cutout of mother sitting in a bed. I said, let's move ibu somewhere else. And they moved to, can we do something about this film together if you like it. Same like Gundala. Gundala has fan art, the sketches. Today's it reached 2010 fan art, including illustrator from US, from DC. David Ross made one because outside people in Indonesia, they heard about the fan art. We have now 2000 something, 2000 and 100 paintings and sketches, illustrations. And they began making songs for Gundala, now 300 songs. And I said, oh, thank you so much, guys, because making a song is difficult, compose a song, record, everything. It required a lot of effort. So we appreciate it by, okay, we will pick some of the songs to be included in the end titles. And we're supposed to pick just 3 because the remaining of them, we pick 7 now. And now they start making Gundala food art. So they're making cupcakes and chocolate from Gundala helmet.
Are these your ideas or
No, they're always
the fans?
the fans. But you have to acknowledge that because they put efforts in doing it. You cannot say just, oh, thank you, and just, thank you, retweet, and, making it all about you. Look at this, we got so many fans. But no, oh, this is very good, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And okay, we will display our gala premiere, and so, they feel appreciated. So I think the bottom line is to make the project not just your project, but everybody else's project.
That's
And building trust is the most
very insightful. It's really difficult building trust with an audience.
Yeah.
But it's good that you've done it. Do you, Joko, do you have any plans to? You're moving on to bigger and bigger projects. You made copy of my mind in 7 days. It was a fairly low budget film, really low budget film. I heard.
It's $20,000 US.
So yeah, and I like that film very much. Tara Basro, brilliant. Do you see yourself like sort of like a Soderbergh, going back and forth, more personal and big projects, or it's just full steam ahead?
All my films are personal.
Or like smaller projects, but that's what I mean.
Oh,
Yeah.
all of them are small. You have to. This is my biggest project, like Gundala. It is very personal in terms of story and storytelling. There are a lot of things that I want to say through the film and the characters. They are very dear characters to me, so I make it very personal. Because if you think that you are making a commercial film, there is a very dangerous trapping of trying to second guess what people will like. So if you think about making a commercial film, you will start think, oh, maybe if I put this element in the film, people will like it. What people like now, I think it's very dangerous because then it's impossible for you to come up with a good movie if the way you think is like that, because you will come up with a mechanical film, a film that you think would be audience taste, but it's not. So yeah, I think you have to make it your project personal.
Do you agree with that, Bront?
Totally. I think whenever you do a project or embrace a project, it's a marriage. So you're gonna commit for the next 12 months, 18 months. So it better, be something beyond a project. I mean, it has to be personal in order for it to make it work. I mean, even in acting, it's the same. I believe directing, like Joko said, it's the same because you're married to a commitment, and with any commitment, there will be challenges that come with it. To endure that, you need something more than just, I like it. I think it sounds like a nice idea, because a nice idea can can die out over time, over the process of so many things coming in to change the idea. Now the dynamics will change over time. You deal with actors, you deal with a lot of conditions, and personal, easily you'll be, oh yeah, this is what the producer want. Oh yeah, you become jaded, you become bitter, you hate your own movie, you hate your own cast, you hate yourself. So it's illogical. So it has to be personal. Right.
Yeah, main question. We open the floor up. Do we have any questions for either Joko or Bront for the both of them?
Tak ada. Let's go
Ada tak?
home.
Oh, let's go.
It's so intense. No, there'll be questions. Anybody wants to ask a question? Yes.
Hi, Adam from Lesopa. You were talking about making each project your personal project, and you did mention some of the movies we have producers, kacau and stuff like that. So what if the producer make it their own personal project that interrupt it is your own personal project as well?
I will refer. I will refer to what Ron said earlier. Every project is a marriage. If you want to marry someone, you have to get to know them first, right? So if you have a project with a producer, you try to find out what kind of producer he is based on what he did previously. And then you got a meeting with him. If you cannot spend 2 hours sipping coffee with this producer, don't do it. Because then probably he will just have coffee with you for 5 minutes, talking business, and then say it will be business only throughout the project, and it's not a good experience. So yeah, that will be the first thing you have to do. Find out who the person you're working with first before you work with them. But just like marriage, right? Sometimes you get divorced because before you begin your
Only
marriage,
half the time, Joko.
sometimes-
Only